To begin our morning together, singing songs. Apparently, I don't have a mic. There, I do have a mic. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Elizabeth Beckett, and this morning I am your service leader. And may I welcome you to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. As a church, we are committed to our mission. And our mission is, we should say this in unison sometime, our mission is to nurture one another, serve the community, and inspire action to heal the world. I think the kids, they have to do hand motions. I won't take you that far. So that's our mission. I think it might be good every once in a while to just think about that and to think about how well we fulfilled our mission this past week. It's because Santa's watching. So, just a heads up on that. If you are new here this morning, you have made a very good choice. And well, self-promotion there, to join us. And I'm going to let you off mission fulfillment because you didn't know, but now you do. This month, we are examining the concept of hope. And I've been thinking about the idea of hope as it applies to us as treaty people. I recently scanned the calls to action of the Truth and Reconciliation Report, and I can say that that is a document of hope. Let us commit to fulfilling the hopes and dreams of all fellow treaty people. Before I light the chalice, I wanted to share this. Hans Dosch. Prelude? Oh, the prelude. I'm sorry. See, I'm not doing the prelude, so it's not in my script.
That's okay.
Let the river run, let all the dreamers wake the nation. Come the new Jerusalem. Silver cities rise, the morning lights, the streets that lead them, and sirens call them on with a song. It's asking for the taking, trembling, shaking. Oh, my heart is aching. We're coming to the edge, running on the water, coming to the fog, your sons and daughters. Fill the greatest song, sit on a star, and blaze a trail of desire through the dark, near the dawn. It's asking for the taking, trembling, shaking. Oh, my heart is aching. We're coming to the edge, running on the water, coming through the fog, your sons and daughters. Join in. Let the river run, let all the dreamers wake the nation. Come the new Jerusalem.
Hans Dutch designed the flaming chalice, now a symbol of our religion, but then it was a symbol of the Unitarian Service Community, the Unitarian Service Agency. I'm not sure about the actual title. During the Second World War, this was a signal to people that help was available to all based on need, not based on religion or race. The flaming chalice inside a circle is borrowed from an old Czechoslovakian symbol of strength and freedom. The flame symbolizes the light of mercy and hope, and the circle is meant to include all. Now the flaming chalice means the light of hope and the light of freedom to those who are deprived of freedom, and the light of truth to those who are seeking it. Surrounding the light are circles where truth, freedom, and mercy are dependent upon one another within the circle of human life. This is our history, but it is also the present, and it is also our future. Let us, here today, commit to the hope and action symbolized by our flaming chalice. Ian. Yes, the light goes there. What is that thing about this person who gave it the spark?
We've got.
Oh, thank you. That's wise. May this be a new flame be our light of friendship and love.
Sometimes it takes a village. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on this snowy December morning. Today is the first day of our new worship theme, as Elizabeth just said, the month of choosing hope. And today we're going to be exploring what it means to build a practice of hope. So let us begin and settle in with these words from Reverend Gretchen Haley, UU minister in Fort Collins, Colorado. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? In these days, we find ourselves too often stuck with these questions on repeat. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? We grasp at signs and markers, articles of news and analysis, Facebook memes and forwarded emails, as if the new zodiac sign capable of forecasting all that life may yet bring our way, as if we could prepare, as if life had ever made any promises of making sense or turning out the way we thought it should. As if we are not actors in this still unfolding story. For this hour we gather to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from needing to know, the yearning to have it all figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all of the control or none of it. Here in our songs and our silence, in our stories and our sharing, we make space for a new breath, a new healing, a new possibility to take root. That is courage forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in this act of faith, that we believe still a new world is possible and that we are recreating it already, here and now. And so let us sing this new world into being with hymn number 95, There's More Love, in the gray hymnal, or the words are on the wall behind me. Our religious educator, Jenny, is taking today off, and so she found this really lovely story for me to share with you all. It's called In Our Hands, and it was written and illustrated by Lucy Farfort. It's coming, I know. In Our Hands. We called it the dulling. It had been creeping on for such a long time and had started so gradually that most people barely even noticed. Perhaps they didn't want to see. No one knew what to do except carry on as normal, as if we could ignore the problem away. As the dulling spread, people felt sad and angry. They blamed each other, and there were terrible arguments. Hurt replaced harmony. Neighbors became enemies. But this didn't solve anything. When the last drop of color finally left our planet, the people in charge shrugged their shoulders and said nothing could be done. Still, in my small corner of the world, I kept my eyes open for answers. Because you never knew when, out of the blue, the tiniest thing could show up and spark a transformation. Such as a single grain of hope found by those like us, dreamers with a gaze that never quits. At first, it seems like nothing was happening, so I shouted for help. And someone heard my call. "Hello," he said, "I've got an idea." And guess what? It worked. "If we gather more people, this could change things," we cried. Most walked past without even stopping, too busy to care. Many had grown used to the gray. "Learn to live with it," they said. This made us want to walk away, but we kept each other going. Bit by joyful bit, others took notice, and everyone who joined gave new energy. There were some funny suggestions along the way, but each offered the glint of a brighter tomorrow. At times, the effort was exhausting. When things got really tough, we had to work as one. Then I woke up one morning and the air felt different. It was filled with the smell of promise. Like the flick of a switch, our dream had blossomed, and in front of us stood a beacon of hope. I guess from a distance among all that gray, it must have appeared a speck of change. Yet we knew deep down that together we had started something incredible. And in our hands was the key to help others do the same. And that is the end of our story this morning. We have a few volunteers who are going to be in the Rainbow Room, and Gail has a program for some of the older children. If they wanted to head out now, they're welcome to do so.
Bye, Jamie. Now, here's the thing about hope. It should inspire action. In that spirit, we will collect the offering.
Sun is rising high, burning into the day. I will say goodbye, I'll be going away. Brush away my doubts, what tomorrow will hold. Feeling fine for now, going down the road. The rocky deep grass and the poppies and ponies running through the grass up and down the road. Now this is your part. Do 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 do. So heavy rain at my back, lazy meadows ahead. In my book I keep track of the promises said. For my songs in a town that tomorrow will hold. Feeling better for now, facing down the road. One more time, folks. Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, that's it. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Sun is rising high, burning into the day. I will say goodbye, I'll be on my way. Brush away my doubts, what tomorrow will hold.
I'm feeling fine for now, going down the road.
Feeling fine for now, going down the road. I'm feeling fine for now, going down the road. Thank you.
Thank you for the offerings that you made just now. I promise to spend this exactly as you want.
Coming from the past treasurer, what an interesting comment. So this morning I will be sharing the words of Krista Tippett, who is the host of the podcast On Being. And these words are an excerpt from one of the episodes that was released this past May, entitled Hope Portal. In these moments of contemplation, I invite you to relax, close your eyes if you'd like, and breathe deeply. Following our reading, there will be a few moments of silence, followed by music. During the music, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle of joy or sorrow. And now words from Krista Tippett. At some point across the last few years in my interviews on Being, I began to ask people sometimes a closing question. What is making you despair, and what is giving you hope? And something that was really fascinating that emerged is that I noticed the answers to these two questions were conjoined. That what people were hopeful about and despairing about were not separate, but opposites. But in a kind of interplay, not separate, not opposites, but a kind of interplay and relationship. That hope really lives close to our despair, and despair lives close to our hope, right on the other side of it, which is fascinating. And it makes me think about the vitality and reality base to the kind of muscular hope. The word hope is a little bit ruined from overuse and from flimsy, superficial use. So let's talk first about what it's not. When I talk about hope, about a muscular hope, I'm not talking about anything to do with wishful thinking. It's not really idealism. I don't use the word optimism. Optimism has a bit of a feel of faith that things in the end will turn out right. And that's not what I am talking about. I'm talking about hope as an orientation, really more than a virtue, a way of seeing and moving through the world. And it is a choice. In the face of profound, reasonable despair, it is a calling. It is a practice, a muscle. And like any muscle, it can be flexed and strengthened.
Without sorrow, we cannot have joy. Without joy and sorrow, we cannot have gratitude. Today, Bill Johnson expresses a sorrow that many of us will share. He says, "I was deeply saddened to see that Judith Bishop has died. Judith was a happy warrior for, Judith was a happy warrior for justice and especially for children. She was also a happy warrior as a school trustee, a position that she served with distinction for 2 decades. Though acutely aware of the challenges, she never seemed to doubt that a better future was possible if we just kept pushing for it, as she did." While acknowledging those who shared with us this morning, we also want to take some time to think about the joys and sorrows in our own lives and how they lead us to joy.
The quote that I shared for our meditation this morning came from the first episode in a series on being called The Hope Portal. And it's a 6-week reflection experience that Krista Tippett curated from conversations that she had had over the last several months. She shared snippets of her conversations with 6 different individuals and offered journaling prompts along with those snippets. The first episode in the series is one of my favorite authors and philosophers, Adrienne Maree Brown. And the journaling prompt that Krista invites the participants to explore is this: examine your orientation to the idea that imagination has real-world consequences. Do you believe that? Trace this reality in the lives of the people that you admire and in your own life. This 6-part series on meditation and practices of hope is so juicy. If you're looking for a practice to sustain you this month, and if you love reflective writing, I would highly recommend finding it online. It really helped me ground my own understanding of hope as a spiritual practice, especially during this time in our society. It has been a challenging year, and I'm not talking about so much my own personal, intimate life, but the life of our society as a whole. The story that is being told right now, and the stories that will be told in the future about 2025. It's all been kind of harrowing. The year began with a bang. On January 7th, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook and Instagram were removing all third-party fact-checking from their platforms, which ended up dismantling the long-standing system of using independent organizations to verify the accuracy of posts made online. Not that this was really significant for most of us in Canada. We haven't really been able to access news on Facebook for more than 2.5 years. But it was still a startling thing. And then, 2 weeks later, we hear that Zuckerberg was present and in the front row during the US presidential inauguration, along with 6 other tech giants. International and political news has been a continued story of chaos, disaster, and brutality this year. The despair of 2025 has been immense, and I will admit that there have been times when I have been stuck in it. I feel myself wading through the thick emotions as if I am trying to walk in a pool of water that is up to my shoulders. this polycrisis of climate chaos, downward spiral of democracy, geopolitical conflict, and rapidly growing wealth gap has been harder and harder to navigate. And it has me tirelessly questioning, what's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? I have spent many of my evenings stuck in that land of gray from our story this morning. Well, actually, it's not a land of gray. It would probably be better for my health if it was a land of gray, but rather my highly pixelated phone or television. One of the nights in the recent past, I stumbled upon something on my phone that had me pause. It was the last battle scene of the Matrix Revolution. And I just bumped my spot, sorry. The last battle scene of the Matrix Revolutions, which is the final movie in the Matrix trilogy. Neo, who is the character that is played by Keanu Reeves, has entered the Matrix one last time, and he has to kill Agent Smith, who is a sentient computer program within a computer-generated world. So, of course, there is this epic battle scene where roads are torn up and buildings are knocked over, and they are flying through downtown skyline, ramming through glass windows and knocking over concrete pillars, and they end up in this huge pit in the middle of the road. It's a really wild superhero / villain type battle. And Neo is on the ground, covered in mud and blood, and Agent Smith is standing over him. It's raining, and thunder is cracking, and the music starts to get really ominous. Then, Neo rolls onto his side and starts to get up. And this is when Agent Smith says, "Why, Mr. Anderson? Why do you do it? Why get up? Why keep fighting? Do you believe you're fighting for something? For more than your survival? Can you tell me what it is? Do you even know? Is it freedom or truth? Perhaps peace? Could it be for love? Illusions, Mr. Anderson's, vagaries of perception, the temporary constructs of a feeble human intellect trying desperately to justify an existence that is without meaning or purpose, and all of them as artificial as the Matrix itself. Although only a human mind could invent something as insipid as love. You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?" By this time, Neo has managed to haul himself into a standing position, and he looks Smith in the eyes and he says, "Because I choose to." And just like that, I feel like the air has been knocked out of me, because that is me so often right now, hanging out in the mud with the world raining down on me. And so often I wish I could just lay there in the mud and the slime, not have to get up, not have to wade through a world that feels thick with polycrisis. Why do I persist? And then Neo says the best thing, because I choose to. And that's the thing about hope that I have been grappling with for a while now. The choosing part. So much of me just wants hope to come flittering around and land in my heart, like a bumblebee landing on a flower. Like a bumblebee landing on a flower, like blue skies and sunshine, I want hope to brighten my days. but watching that movie clip helped me to remember. There is nothing delicate about hope, and rarely, if ever, does it come without persistence. One of the pieces that Krista Tippett talked about in her podcast series is to consider hope more as an orientation rather than a virtue. It's a way of seeing and moving through the world, and it's a choice. In the face of profound, reasonable despair, hope is a calling. It is a practice and it is a muscle. Krista Tippett goes on to say that even though we must orient ourselves toward it or through the lens of hope, it is still a virtue. And none of the great virtues are meant to be carried alone. None of them. And yet we err on the side of individualism in this American culture. Those were her words, but I would say in our Canadian culture as well. So none of the great virtues are meant to be carried alone, and especially with something like hope or something like love in a time like this, in a world like this, we are called and invited to surround ourselves with others who can walk this path with us and carry something like hope on these days, these weeks, this year, when it's too much to ask of ourselves. And so, what does that mean for us? And how do we collectively practice hope? One of the ways I have learned is to keep showing up. 18 months ago, when I was first introduced to UU Hamilton as the potential new minister, I spent a week in conversations with members of this community, trying to figure out if we would work well together. Over the course of 9 days, I had countless conversations with individuals and small groups throughout this community. People who were in leadership roles, elders of this community who had been here for 25 or more years. We had an opportunity to play board games with families, and I taught a small yoga class in the fellowship hall. And one of the topics that kept popping up in these conversations was the need for more social activities. People wanted to be together in ways that wasn't surrounded by work, but by play and socializing. I spent much of my first year with you all watching how you spend time together and in what ways you were already socializing. And then, this fall, Jesse and Jenny joined me in trying out a new practice of creating the Third Space cafes. Over the last 2 months, Jenny and I have been hosting the cafe spaces every Friday night from 6 to 9 p.m. We coordinate a different activity for each evening. Sometimes we bring craft supplies. This last week, Jenny had supplies for making Christmas cards. Or we've invited people to bring their mending. One Friday night, we had technology help. And I've invited people to help me with cooking dinners a few times. And the fourth Fridays have continued to be all about board games, a tradition that was introduced by Tim and Audrey a few years ago. We've decided that each week will be a potluck, and we're going to keep going in the new year. Even though our turnouts have been lower than expected, we had 8 people this last Friday night, which included me, Jenny, and Ivy, so we had 5 people. But I think it's really important to continue showing up and making the space available for others. There is part of me that wants to cancel this program. After 2 months of small turnouts and taking home way too many leftovers, almost every Friday, it felt like what we were offering wasn't what was needed. But we've chosen to continue, because being persistent about the ideas of building community and creating space for everyone to socialize, not just work, feels like an act of hope. And we're planning for some different styles of gathering in the new year, with the possibilities of an open mic night, co-working spaces for creative pursuits, and someone suggested we try out an Iron Chef event, given that we have 2 stoves in the kitchen, and lots of people like cooking. Amy Lisek, who is a public philosopher and writer based here in Ontario, speaks of this very idea. In a blog post she wrote, "Hope is hard work. It's messy and tiring and doesn't provide any guidance that you'll end up where you want to be. It requires redos and second chances, timeouts and recharges. But as a writer, I know that you can't edit a blank page. As a philosopher, I know that if you don't ask the questions, you get 0 answers. I hope for a living, and I hope so that I have a life. Something may come of the things that I do because I hope." She goes on to say, "There's so many ways to practice hope as a verb. If you are reaching out to your community, even small ways, you hope. If you are reading to a child and talking to them like they are an intelligent being, you hope. If you are growing your own vegetables or sewing your own clothes, you hope. If you are supporting a local artist or business, you hope. If you are a researcher or you are workshopping a problem, you hope. If you teach or you heal, you hope. If you are posting information or encouragement online, trolling doesn't count, you hope. If you're like me and you spend your time creating and sharing, you hope. If you got out of bed this morning and made something or did something, you hope." Practicing hope, spending time in hope-filled action. This is how we can choose hope during the month of December. If hope is a muscle that needs to be used in order to be strengthened, then what are the practices that you are going to choose to do? Instead of getting stuck in the never-ending loop of questions, what's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? Perhaps we can get stuck in the ideas of hope. You may have heard in the past, I've ended my sermons with a short line that says, "Let it be so, because we make it so." This is my own take on the ending of "May it be so," which is regularly used at the end of prayers, blessings, or as an affirmation. It reminds me of the ending at the call of worship this morning. Courage is forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in this act of faith. That we believe still a new world is possible and that we are creating it already, here and now. And thus I end. Let our practice of hope carry us through the darkest of days. May it be so, because we make it so. And now, please join me in singing our closing hymn in the gray hymnal number 347, "Gather the Spirit."
Our trails in this
I extinguish our chalice this morning with these words from my mentor and colleague, Reverend Tandy Rogers. May you choose hope, even when it trembles. May it be the kind of hope that plants seeds, waits in the dark, and trusts the stirring. Hope that doesn't deny despair, but dares to outlast it.
You're going to join me with that. It's pretty simple. We rise. So sing that with me. We rise. Pretty straightforward, right? Do you want to try that again? We rise. Okay, so the other part is in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. It goes like this. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer. And this is the second time. We're right here. Okay, let's try that again. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. So now, I would ask if you feel comfortable standing, that would be awesome. I want you to join the snap. Sway back and forth. We're going to feel this. Snapping really helps to keep the time. I find it also my body. It helps, right? Okay, we're going to start with we rise. Everybody ready? We rise, humbly hearted, rise, won't be divided, rise, with spirit to guide us, rise, in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. And we're going to rise. We rise. All of the children rise. Yeah. Elders with wisdom rise. Ancestors surround us rise. In hope, let's hear you. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer. One more time. We're right here. In hope, in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, yeah, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. Beautiful.
singer and I stand really far from the microphone.